Okay, I am back to do another tutorial, and this time I'm going to do another everyday makeup look. It's just going to be a little bit more glam. There's going to be some sparkle, some liner for all of my followers who are not as boring as I am and just want something a little bit more fun. This is for you guys, and if you want to see, just keep on watching. So for this look, since we're using sparkles and stuff like that, I'm going to start with my eyes because you have a lot of fallout. If we do our concealer first, we're just going to drive ourselves crazy and we're going to end up getting sparkles in it and take it off, and then it's just not going to look how we want it. So we're going to first start by prepping our eyes, and I'm going to use the Bobbi Brown Instant Full Coverage Concealer, and I'm going to put this right on my eyelids. Not too much, just a little bit, and this just helps to neutralize any redness, and it's just a great base for the sparkle that we're about to use. So I'm just going to apply it, pressing down towards my lash line and bringing it up. And you want to apply it all over the lid. And make sure you get in the inner corner too, because we want that section to be the brightest. Same on the other eye. What I love about this look too is it's very easy. So for all the girls that are scared to, try anything with sparkle or any liner, I'm going to walk you through it. And the sparkles that I use, I am not going in with any reds or plums or greens. We're just going to do super, super neutral tones. I'm going to use taupey, a little bit of gold, so things that are really wearable. So after we apply our concealer to our lids, we're going to use an eyeshadow brush. This one is an angled eyeshadow brush by Bobbi Brown. And I love the angled because it's easy to get into the crevices and it's kind of easier to draw the shape that you want when you have an angled one. The first thing that I'm going to use is the shade Nooner. And it is this one right here. Nope, this one right here. And this is the Urban Decay Naked palette, Naked 3. And I'm just going to apply this all over my lower lid. And you want to push it down into the lash line. You don't want to be going up, you want to go downward because we want the color to kind of almost look like it's fading. So I'm not going to create any shape with it. I'm just going to put it right on my lower lid, and we're going to create the shape with our liner when we do a cat eye. So we're just going to keep the eyeshadow super basic and fairly easy. And it's the same thing on the other eye. And make sure you don't miss out on your lash line because you don't want to see that gap of color where it's not supposed to be. And don't go too high. Remember, this is a daytime look, so we are keeping it, we're trying to keep this very wearable. So after we apply the Nooner from the Urban Decay palette, I'm going to use the Bobbi Brown Sparkle Eyeshadow in Taupe. I love the shade. You can wear it with nothing under it. You can wear it with stuff under it. It's just so beautiful. It is very, very neutral, and it's just easy to wear. And with sparkles, it's not so pigmented, so it doesn't look like you have like a thick shimmer on your lid. It just looks like a touch of sparkle. And we're just going to apply this right on the lower lid on top of the Nooner. And you kind of want to keep it more in the center, a little bit in the inner corner, and you can leave that outer corner a little bit darker. The same thing on the other eye. And there's no trick to this. I'm simply just placing it, so I promise you that you guys can do it. Don't be scared. And again, if it takes you a few tries, don't worry about it. Don't be so hard on yourself. These things take time. So after we applied our eyeshadow, I'm going to use my eyeliner pen. So this one is by Tarte. It's dual-ended. One side has a gel liner, which I love for the water line on the top and the bottom, or I love for a smudgy, smoky line. And this other side is the liquid liner. I use this for a crisp wing line when I want it to be very pigmented, very black. This is a great option. So to start off, we're going to use the gel liner side. Another great option for a gel liner, if it's not in a pen, is if it's in the pot and use a brush, it works the same way. So if you don't have this, it's totally fine. So what we're going to do is place the gel line into our waterline on our upper lash line. So all I'm doing is placing the liner right inside. And this just gives the illusion of a thicker lash line. The same thing on the other eye. And if you have to use your other hand to pull the lid up, it's totally fine too. Okay, so we are done with the gel liner part. I'm not going to put any on the bottom because I do want my eyes to look open and somewhat on the natural side, because again, this is a daytime look, and when you keep it all clean on the bottom, it just tends to look a little bit more wearable. If you want to just stop here, you can do that too, and just put on some mascara and you're good to go. It just makes your eyes pop when you add that liner onto your waterline. But we're going to take this a step further, and we're going to create a cat eye. So my technique is to keep your eyes open. I know a lot of people like to do it with their eye closed, but during the day you're going to have your eye open. So we want to see what it looks like with your eyes open. When they're closed, it's easy to make them look how you want, but once you open them, it's not what it looks like. You're not going to be walking around with your eyes closed all day. That would be really funny if your eyeliner was good when it was closed and you were just like, but we're going to keep them open. So my best tip is to tilt your head back, and don't try to create one long line. Just place it, and then you can connect it. So I'm just placing it. I'm not trying to create a perfect line. I'm just placing the liner. And make sure you go all the way to the inner corner. When you stop in the middle, it just makes your eyes look smaller. And if you see some skin in between the line and your lashes, you can always go back in with the gel liner side or the liquid side and just press it on the inside. Just like we did before with the gel liner pen. Just fill in those gaps where you see skin and it's not black. And don't worry about drawing the wing till the end. Let's just get the line down and then we can place the wing. So for the wing, I do use two hands just to get an idea of where I'm drawing it. So you want the wing to go out towards the end of your brow. That's a good way to gauge. You don't want to go too far up. You don't want to go too far straight. Just try to see where your brow ends and aim in that direction. So this is our wing line. You do not want to pull your eye. I might have just pulled mine a little, but you really don't want to pull it. Besides the fact that that gives you wrinkles, once you let go, it's just going to look bunchy. Don't do it. Try as hard as you can to not pull your lid. With the wing, you want to keep it fairly short. We don't want it to be too extreme. Same thing on the other eye. We all have one eye that is harder, and for me, it is my left. So the hardest part about eyeliner is definitely making them even. It takes some time. Okay, so this one is much thicker. Okay, so now I just have to make them even. This one is a little bit thicker, so I'm going to go back into this one and perfect it. Okay, so this is my eyeliner. I'm done with that. Again, I told you guys if I did eyeliner every single day, I would always be late. I can go back and forth with my eyeliner for hours trying to make it perfect. So it is definitely a commitment, but like I said, you could stop before it and just do the liner inside your waterline just to create a thicker lash line and put on some mascara and you are good to go. So, and then on the lower lash line, I'm gonna go back in with my taupey sparkle and I'm going to use a smoky eye brush and I'm just going to create a little bit of intensity on the lower lash line to match the top part. Okay, so what we did so far is we prepped our eyelids with our concealer. What I used was Bobbi Brown Instant Full Coverage Concealer. And then we went on to use the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette in the shade Nooner all over our lower lid. And then on top of it, we put Taupe Sparkle Eyeshadow by Bobbi Brown. After the sparkle eyeshadow, we used the gel liner inside of our upper. After we used the sparkle shadow, we took our gel liner and applied it to the inside of our lash line to create a thicker looking lash. And then on top of our lashes, we created a wing liner with black ink liner. You want to use a liquid liner for this because we really want that intensity. So to finish off the look, I'm going to use my Honest Company mascara. I love this one, and a huge reason why I love it is because it is not hard to take off. So the benefit is also amazing. They're real, but it is a struggle to get it off, and I don't want to have to rub my eyes for 10 minutes to take my mascara off. I just hate how red it makes them, and it just tugs on my skin. So that's definitely a huge factor when I am looking for a mascara. So since it's a daytime look, I'm not going to put on any false lashes. If you want to, you do you. I'm all for it. So we are done with our eyes. And the next thing we are going to do is our skin. So right before this, I prep my skin with the CE Ferrolic by SkinCeuticals, and then I use the Hydrating Gel by Drunk Elephant on top. I told you guys that I do not like to use a thick moisturizer during the day because I am oily, and it's just going to make my makeup look really oily, and it's all just going to come off by lunchtime. So I like to use something on the lighter side, something that's more of a gel, and that's a great option. So the first thing I'm going to do is go in with this Nars Foundation. I've yet to try this, but I love everything Nars, so I'm sure it's going to be amazing, and I hope it's my shade. Oh yeah, okay. So right now I am using a full coverage face brush by Bobbi Brown. This is one of my favorite brushes for a full face beat. If you want full coverage, or as my friend Annie would say, a tranny beat. If you want full coverage, this is the perfect tool for it. But you guys know I really don't wear foundation, so this is a rare occurrence. And I just go over with a very, very, very thin layer because I really like for my natural skin to shine through. I never like for my skin to look like it's fake, so I just like to use a very thin layer and call it a day. Next, we are going to use the same Instant Full Coverage Concealer. I'm using the shade Warm Beige, and we are going to conceal our under eye. Just one swipe is enough with this stuff. It's very full coverage, so you really don't need more than that. And I'm going to use the Full Coverage Touch-Up Brush, also by Bobbi Brown, which is amazing. And for those of you asking, Bobbi Brown does make my favorite brushes. They are a little bit pricier, but it's so worth it. Like, if you want to have good makeup, you need a good brush. This is also a great way to perfect your eyeliner. And make sure you get up into that inner corner, and you can take it around to your brow bone. And then you're just going to pat it in with your hand. Same thing on the other eye. And I know like a lot of beauty bloggers, they do like a huge V on their face with their concealer. And I mentioned before, I really don't think it's necessary, but I am the type of makeup person that does not like a lot of makeup. I mean, I know it's fun to do, but the less product, the better. I want it to look natural. And you can cover any redness on your nose. I'm just using whatever is left over on the brush because I want my nose to look natural and sheer, and we don't want to overdo it. And then you can just press it in with our full coverage face brush just to melt it into the skin. So my brows are already filled in from today, but what I will do is just brush them up and put a little brow gel in them to fix the shape. And if you guys didn't get a chance to see my brow to, is that cute? How to, brow to? It's on my Instagram, you can go check it out. It's on my highlights and it's gonna stay there for a little while. I am so pale, it's making me so uncomfortable. So after, we're just gonna set our skin with some pressed powder. Doesn't have to be pressed, just translucent. I'm using the Bobbi Brown pressed powder in Pale Yellow. My favorite translucent powder is by Laura Mercier, but I ran out and I have to get a new one. And then another trick that I learned for your under eye concealer is to just twist the brush. This way you're not wiping away anything that you did and you're just placing it down. Okay, so we have our foundation on, we have our concealer on, and we just set it. The next thing that I'm going to do is add a little bronzer because I am like blending in with this, what is this called? A counter? I'm blending in with the counter. Okay, so I'm going to use a bronzer brush. This one is by Bobbi Brown, and I'm using MAC bronzer in Matte Bronze. And I'm just going to apply it to the outside of my face and contour a little bit. Okay, so after we applied our bronzer, I'm going to do my favorite step, which is my blush. And the one that I'm going to use is by Kevyn Aucoin. This is the Neo Bronzer Sienna and Warm Coral. It is so, so pretty. How the fuck do people do this? All right, well, I guess I'll see on my face. So I'm just gonna place my brush in the middle of this palette just to pick up some of that coral. And we're just gonna apply a little dusting onto our cheeks. So this is my look. It is super, super easy. Again, the sparkles that we use and the eyeshadow that we use are pretty neutral, and they are just very easy to wear in the daytime. You don't feel like you're overdoing it. I also think that a good tip is to kind of just keep your shadows and your liner on your upper lid as opposed to the lower lash line or anything like that, because it just makes it a little bit more daytime and it just feels a little more casual. And that's all she wrote. So again, this is another option as an everyday look. It's much more glam than my original, but sometimes it's fun to change it up. It's very easy to do. I think if we weren't talking through this, I probably could have done this in about 15-20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, I think. There's no right or wrong way. You could just have fun with it. You can do any shades that you want, but again, if you want to wear it in the daytime, it's just easier to keep the shades more neutral. But don't be afraid of sparkle, because they really are fun and they just look beautiful, and it just really makes your eye color pop. So I'm sorry, I can't stop looking at myself in the mirror. Eyeliner is just so pretty. It just makes your eyes look incredible, and you can just manipulate the shape to anything that you want, which is what's so cool. That's why a lot of the time I really don't put anything on my lower lid, because my eyes, I feel, are small, and if I put anything on the lower lash line, it tends to just weigh them down more, whereas I really want to create that cat eye shape, which makes them look elongated and cat eye-ish. So this is another option for you guys. I hope that you loved it. If there's anything else that you want to see or you have any more questions, please don't be afraid to message me or DM me. I love to hear what you guys want to see, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys.